Hi and welcome to our next YouTube video. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to build nice modern cards with some cool effects. This project will be created using pure HTML and CSS. So as you can see, we have here three similar cards with different price packages and conditions. If I hover over them, then the scale of cards will be increased smoothly. They will become bigger. And also if I make browser smaller, then cards will be wrapped, so the project will be responsive on different screen sizes. Alright, so here in VS Code I've got a couple of files for HTML and for CSS, and also we have a folder in which I've got an image. In index.html file I've created the basic structure of the HTML document. Inside the head element we have a couple of links. First one is for Google Fonts. I'm going to use fonts called Josephine Sans and Montserrat. Then I have passed here a link for font awesome icons, and lastly I have a link for style.css file. Okay, let's go ahead and start building HTML markup. I'm going to create div element, which is going to be a container. It will include the entire content. So let's assign to it class container. Next we need another div element, which should be a wrapper for cards. So assign to it class name cards wrapper. And now we have to create the card itself. So let's open another div element with class name card. Actually, the card will consist of three main parts. We will have card header, card body, and card footer. So let's insert here div element, which should be a card header. Let's assign to it class name card header. It will consist of two heading elements. First one will describe what kind of package do we have. I mean free or standard or premium. As for the second one, it should be for the price of the package. So let's open h3 heading element and insert here text free. Next we need h1 heading element with text, $, and 0. Okay, that's it about card header. Next we need a card body. It will represent what kind of features do we have in case of the free package. So let's create div element and assign to it class name card body. So the features will be represented by a list. Therefore let's open UL element and then insert in it li. So we will have here font awesome icons with some text. In case of free package, just two features will be available and the rest of them won't be. So the first two features will have check icons and the rest of them should have X icons. So let's open here I element and assign to it class FAS FA-check and then insert here some text after closing I tag. Some feature text. Overall, I'm going to have 6 features, so let's duplicate this line 5 times. And then the only thing that we have to do here is to change class names for last for font awesome icons. Instead of the check, we need here to write times. Okay, so that's it about card body. As we said, we need to create card footer as well. It will include just one button. So let's open div element and assign to it class card footer. Then inside div element create button, which should have type button and the text subscribe. Okay, so we have created the first card. Overall, we will have 3 of them, so let's go ahead and duplicate entire card twice. Then make some changes. Instead of free, we need here standard. As for the second heading element, instead of 0, write, let's say 49 and slash. Then open span element and insert here month. So in case of a standard package, I'm going to make 4 features available. So let's change class names here. We need check instead of times. So the second card is ready. Let's make some changes for the third one. We need here premium, then 99, open span element, and insert month. And lastly, I'm going to make all features available. So for the last 4 features, we need class name check instead of times. Alright, that's it about HTML markup. We have created structures for all 3 cards. Now it's time to start styling them. Let's go to style.css file and first of all create some reset styles. I'm going to select every element using asterisk. Then set margin and padding as 0. And also use box sizing property and assign to it border box. Alright, so the first element that I want to take care of is container. So let's select it and define its width and height. I'm going to set width as 100%. As for height, let's set it as 100% of viewport. And also change background color. Let's assign to it color DDD. Okay, after that, I'm going to select cards wrapper. So I want the wrapper to be placed in the center horizontally, and also I'm going to align cards in a row. In order to do that, at first let's define width as 90%. Then in order to center cards wrapper inside the container, we need margin auto. Next, let's define height and set it as 100%. And now I'm going to align cards horizontally in a row. And also I want to place them vertically in the center using flexbox. So we need here display flex. Now as you can see, cards are placed in a row. Let's create some space between them. And for that, let's use justify content with the value space around. And finally, in order to center them vertically, use align items and set it as center. Alright, so that's it about the alignment of cards. Now we have to start styling card itself. So let's go ahead and select a card. At first, let's set width as 300 pixels. Then I'm going to change background. Actually, I want to set an image as a background. At first, let's use here linear gradient and pass here some RGBA values. We need black color with opacity 0.5. Then again pass RGBA value with the same black color but with opacity 0.6. Next we need to indicate path of image. So inside URL, let's write images and select image bg.jpg. Then as a position of image, write center. Also we need here no repeat. And finally, let's use background size property with value cover. So as you can see, we have here image as a background of the card, but for now the card itself looks really ugly. Next, let's change the color of content. In order to make it visible, let's set it as white. And then just center the text inside card using text align center. Alright, let's move on to styling individual elements inside the card. The first part that I want to style is the card header, which consists of 2 heading elements. At first, let's select card header itself and create some space at the bottom using margin bottom with value 40 pixels. Next, I'm going to select the first heading element. So we need to write here card header and then H3. let's change the font family. I'm going to use here a font called Josephine Sans serif. Then increase font size. I'm going to set it as 30 pixels. And also I'm going to make font lighter using font weight with value 300. Alright, so the first heading is already looking good, but I want to add to it some more styles. Let's change its color. In this case, I'm going to use color called chocolate. Then create some space around the heading. Use margin with the value of 30 pixels. After that, I want to create a border at the bottom of the heading. So for that, let's use border bottom. Then write here values 1 pixel, groove, and the color white. So as you can see, we have here border at the bottom, but I think it's too close to heading. And in order to fix that, let's just use padding with value 10 pixels. With value 10 pixels. Alright, that's it about first heading element. Let's go ahead and style the second one. Select it, write card header, H1. Actually for H1 we need to use those 3 properties, so I'm going to grab them from here and then just change the values. As a font family, I'm going to use Montserrat. Then set font size as 60 pixels. As for the font weight, let's leave it as it is. Alright, so the second heading element is styled, but we need here to make some changes. I want to make a $sign smaller, and also I want to place it a little bit up. In order to do that, I'm going to use HTML tag called superscript. So let's go ahead and wrap $signs for all cards by superscript tag. So as you see, the $sign is placed a little bit up, but it's too bigger. So let's decrease its font size. Select it, write card header and sup, and set font size as 35 pixels. Alright, so that's it about $sign. The only thing that I want to do regarding this part is to decrease size of month, because as you can see, it's quite bigger. As you remember, we have wrapped this word by span element. So let's go ahead and select it, write card header, span, and then define font size and make it 18 pixels. Okay, so we have finished working on card header, both headings are styled, and now we have to move on and take care of card body. Inside card body, we have lists of features with font awesome icons and some text. So let's go ahead and select at first card body and create some space at the bottom using margin bottom 60 pixels. Next, I'm going to take care of li element, which actually wraps icon and text. So let's select it, write card body li. First of all, let's get rid of default bullets using list style, none. Then change the font family. In this case, I'm going to use font called Josephine Sans serif. Then set font size as 16 pixels and write font weight 300. Alright, so the list items are looking good, but we need some space between them, and for that I'm going to use margin. Let's make it 15 pixels on top and bottom and 0 on left and right sides. Okay, so with text values we are done, and now I want to customize icons. The first thing that we need here is to create some space between icon and text. For that, let's select I element, right, card body, I, and use margin right 25 pixels. Next thing that I want to do is to change the color of icons. In case of check, I want to use green color. As for X icons, I'm going to make them red. So let's go ahead and select card body, then have a check, and set its color as 0D683A. Let's duplicate this code. Change class name, we need here times instead of check, and also change the value of color, right here 911832. Alright, so as you can see, the color of icons are changed, and actually with card body we are done. Next, as you guessed, we have to take care of card footer. So let's select div element with class name card footer and create some space at the bottom using margin bottom with value 40 pixels. Next, I'm going to customize the button, so let's select it. We need here card footer button. First of all, let's set its width as 120 pixels. Then create some space inside button using padding 10 pixels. Change background color. I'm going to use here color chocolate. And also change the color of text. Make it lighter using color DDD. Okay, now I'm going to take care of text inside button. First of all, let's change font family. I'm going to use font called Montserrat sans serif. Then set its font size, make it 12 pixels. I'm going to make the font a little bit bolder. For that, write font weight and set it as 600. Also make text uppercase using text transform uppercase. And lastly, create some space between letters using letter spacing with value 1 pixel. Alright, that's it about the text. We need here some more styles to make the button look good. Let's change the default border and create the custom one. Right here 2 pixels, solid, and the color chocolate. Then make the button rounded using border radius 50 pixels. Get rid of default outline, write outline none. And finally, change the type of cursor, make it pointer. Alright, so as you can see, button is styled. Now I want to add some styles to the card itself. I'm going to make its corner slightly rounded, and also I want to add to it some shadow effect. So let's go ahead and assign to the card border radius with the value 10 pixels. And then use box shadow, insert here values 0, 10 pixels, 30 pixels, and the color RGBA 000 and opacity 0.8. Okay, so now cards are looking much better, and next I'm going to create little hover effect. On hover I'm going to increase the scale of cards, and also I want to change slightly box shadow. So let's select card with hover, then insert here transform, scale, and as an argument insert here 1.1. Actually, as you know, by default scale of element is 1. Next we need box shadow with values 0, 15 pixels, 60 pixels, and the color RGBA 000.8. And also, in order to make effect smoother, let's use transition with the values all and 0.4 second. So if I hover over the card, then its size will be increased smoothly, also shadow will be changed, and overall we will get a nice effect. Alright, actually that's it, we are almost done with this project. The only thing that I want to do is to make project responsive on different screen sizes. For that, let's inspect the page and then switch responsive mode. So the breakpoint on which we need to make some changes, I think, is about 1200 pixels, because as you can see on the screen size, project breaks. So let's go ahead and create a CSS Media Query. For that, we have to write @media. Then inside parentheses, we have to indicate max width. As we said, we need to write here 1200 pixels. And now inside a media query, we have to create some CSS styles, which then will be applied to on that breakpoint. Let's select container and set its height as 100%. Next, I want to wrap cards, and for that, let's select cards wrapper and assign to it flex wrap with value wrap. And finally, we need space around cards in order to wrap them nicely. I'm going to create that space using margin, so select card and assign to it margin 50 pixels. Alright, so if we make the page smaller, then cards will be wrapped and eventually the project will be responsive on smaller screen sizes. Okay, so finally we are done, our project is finished. I hope that it was interesting and useful for you. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, then please subscribe to our channel, like the video, comment below and click the bell in order to get notifications about every uploaded video. Alright, thanks for watching, see you in the next tutorial.